Good morning, children. Welcome back. In my second video, I'm going to explain you the summary of the chapter The Making of a Scientist. I hope you all are going to get some information about a great scientist by this chapter. Children, I'm going to tell you the summary of the chapter The Making of the Scientist written by Robert W. Peterson. A former Scout of the Year, Richard H. Ebright, surprised the scientific world with his theory on how cells work. He published a paper on this finding in the journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Science with the help of his college roommate. Ebright was 21 at that time. It was as rare an achievement for a scientist as is for a player of baseball when he makes the big leagues at 15 or scores a home run at the time of maiden betting appearance. Although Bright earned many achievements later in life, but his career in science actually started with his interest in butterflies. Bright, the only child of his parents, grew up in Reading, Pennsylvania, as he did not have much company in this place. He started taking interest in collecting things. In his kindergarten days, Bright enthusiastically collected butterflies. Apart from that, he also collected rocks, fossils, and coins. He was fond of stargazing too. His mother understood her son's aspirations and encouraged him in his learning. She took him on trips and bought him equipments like microscopes, telescopes, cameras, mounting materials, and the like. Until Bright went to school, his mother was his sole companion. After the death of his father, when Bright was still in a grade 3, this companionship strengthened further. His mother ensured that Bright was always busy as she knew that her child wanted to learn. By the time the young boy reached second grade, he had collected all the 25 varieties of butterflies that were found near his hometown. He was a good student and always earned top grades in school. The mother, ever keen for her son to continue his interest in butterflies, bought a book titled Travels of Monarch X. The book taught Bright about migration of monarch butterflies to Central America and sharpened his eagerness about butterflies. This book also made a request to the readers to tag butterflies for research by Dr. Frederick A. Urquhart of Toronto University. The butterfly collecting season in Reading lasted 6 weeks only, and collecting them one by one did not let the collector anywhere. So, Bright caught hold of a female monarch and raised her eggs in his basement. He tried to raise as many monarchs as possible, tag them, and let them go. However, soon he lost interest in tagging butterflies. It was not a very rewarding job. Of all the butterflies he had tagged, only two could be recaptured. In his seventh grade, Bright came to know of the county science fair. His entry was slides of frog tissues, which he wanted to show under a microscope. Here, he learned that a neat display of object is not of much importance, and if one wanted to win prizes, one had to perform actual experiments. The competitive spirit urged him to pledge that for next year's fair he would do some real experiment. So he decided to work on insect. a subject he was really conversant with. He wrote to Dr. Urquhart for ideas, and a bride got many suggestions in return. These suggestions kept him busy all through the high school and also won him many county and international science fair prizes. For the 8th grade project, Albright worked to find the reason behind the viral disease that caused the death of nearly all monarchs, caterpillars, every few years. He thought that the disease was carried by a beetle. So, what he did? He raised the caterpillars in the presence of beetles. Although he did not get any results from this experiment, but he won the prize for experimenting itself. Next year, he tried to verify and test the theory that the viceroy butterfly copies the monarch. It was believed the monarchs didn't taste good to birds, so viceroys tried to waylay the birds by giving the impression of being monarchs. However, a bride's efforts resulted in finding that starlings did not like ordinary food but ate monarchs greedily. His project won him the first prize in zoology division and an overall third in the country's science fair. However, Albright tells us that later research by other scientists showed that viceroys do copy monarchs. Albright's project during his second year high school resulted in the discovery of an unknown insect hormone, which led to his new theory on the life of cells. In this project, he wanted to find out the purpose behind the 12 gold spots on a monarch pupa. It was believed that the gold spots were just ornamental. However, a bright, along with another budding science student, showed that the spots produced hormones which helped the butterfly to develop properly and completely. A bride bagged the first prize in the county fair, which earned him an entry into the International Science and Engineering Fair, where his project was placed third in the zoology department. During summer, he got the chance to work at the entomology laboratory of the Walter Reed Army Institute of Research. The next year, a bright grew cells from monarch's wings and showed that these cells divide and develop into grown up butterfly wing scales provided they were given the hormone from the gold spots. After his freshman years at Harvard University, Albright went back to the Department of Agriculture laboratory to do more work on hormones from the gold spots and was able to identify the chemical structure of the hormone. A year and a half later, Albright got an idea for his new theory about cell life. While looking at the X ray photo of the hormone's chemical structure, examination of the photo gave him an answer to one of the biology's puzzles about how the cell can read the blueprint of the DNA which controls heredity. Later, the entire theory was published as a paper that explained it in detail with the help of pictures and a plastic models prepared with the help of his college roommate James R. Wong. Albright surprised everybody by graduating from the Harvard University with the highest honor. He later joined the Harvard Medical School and continued research and experiments to test his theory. If the theory proves to be true, it will be a great stride in ridding the world of a variety of diseases. Apart from his interest in scientific research, Bright has other interests also. As a young student, he was an excellent debater and an orator. He took keen interest in outdoor activities and was a good canoeist as well. He was a good photographer too and took pictures of natural objects in scientific exhibits. Richard A. Bright was a straight A student and was a great fan of his social studies teacher, Richard A. Wehrer. Wehrer opened many new ideas for the young Bright, whom he liked and had high regard for his capabilities. Bright has all the qualities of a good scientist. He is the right mix of a first rate mind, curiosity, and the will to win. Qualities that have made him a great scientist. The Making of a Scientist gives an extensive account of the journey of Richard A. Bright as a scientist. The foundation of a Bright's scientific temperament lay in the hobbies that he pursued during his childhood. His hobbies gradually led a Bright's innovative ideas about the theory on the life of cells. Children, do you know that excelling in any field does not involve merely reading many books on the subject? One must have a first rate mind that is alert, observant, and curious. In addition, one must develop a knack for thinking new ideas and a skill to carry out experiments around those ideas to explain natural phenomena in a rational and scientific way. Besides, one must have a strong desire to succeed by putting in sincere and committed efforts. So, if you want to get success in your life, you should have a strong desire to succeed. Thank you. Have a nice day.